This project is a three-dimensional letter. You can use your initial, our initial is someone else, but the idea is that we're going to create this letter in 3 dimensions so that you can decorate it any way that you'd like, and preferably something about you. So to begin, you're going to get a piece of manila paper, and we're going to start with doing by a basic, just a very, very basic block letter. Now, we use the paper cups to create the dimension, and the size of the paper cup is going to be helpful in getting your project drawn. So we're going to start by tracing around the cup. I'm going to just do an L, and I'm just going to keep tracing this until I get the L shape. I'm just going down the line here on the edge of my paper, and I'm going to continue this. Now you can get a little fancier, but you really want to try to keep your narrowest part the size of the cup so that we don't have little cup edges hanging off the end. And I can also just come back down here and maybe I'll put a little curve on the end of my L this time, but I'm just going to continue drawing it to the edge of my paper. Now, you're not going to cut around these curves when you create your letter. You're just using them as a guide so that you can draw it and have it come out even. At this point, I'm going to take a ruler and I'm just going to kind of almost do like a connect the dots, where I'm just going to kind of line it up with the edge of my cup and make my L. So I use the cups to help me draw the letter L. The next step is to cut the L out. You're going to need a top and you're going to need a bottom piece. And I don't recommend cutting them out at the same time because paper shifts as you cut. And your pieces might be a little uneven, which will make it a little difficult to put together. I'm just going to kind of tug that away. And I have my L. Now you're going to have a second piece of paper, and you're going to trace your letter onto the second piece of paper. Flip this around so you can see the L. Because you want them to be as close to the same size and the same proportion and the same lines as the one that you just drew. And then I'm going to cut this one out as well. So I will have a top piece and I will have a bottom piece. And I want to try to cut this carefully. If it's a little off, it's not a big deal, but you just want to try to keep it so that you don't have very strange looking pieces. The other thing you want to keep in mind is the direction that you traced it, because you wouldn't, and L's are easy because if you flipped it over, obviously you're not going to be able to put it together to make an L, but you're going to start this way. At this point, we're going to take some paper cups, and we are going to glue the paper cups on. This is going to give us our dimension. Well, it works better when your glue works. Or you have it open, one of the two. And obviously my glue is not working. So I'm going to improvise here, and I'm just going to pour a little glue on a scrap paper and use my fingers. So I'm just going to put some glue on the edge of my cup, just enough to let it stick, and I'm going to put it on my bottom piece. And I'm going to do this in alternating directions because Sometimes it just kind of gives a little more stability, and you can place them as close together as you like. So they may not end up exactly the way that you trace them, but there's no problem with that either. We can always squish a cup if we need to. It's nice that there's just paper. And I'm going to continue this till I have my entire letter L covered with paper cups. And I'll need a little more glue. And obviously I didn't twist this one over, but it's not that big of a deal. There's lots of things in art that can be done many, many different ways. They don't always have to be done exactly the way they're written. Sometimes you come up with a better way than someone else's idea. And for now, I'm down here, I have a little extra space. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to glue my cups on. Try to keep them from going over the edge. Just a couple more. Put this way. Now you kind of don't want to, you can have the glue can drip in the cup. That's not an issue either. You can squish the cups. You just kind of want the glue to be tacky so it kind of holds in place. Now this one is not going to fit exactly. I'm just going to kind of squish it. It's okay if it's hanging off the end. We'll take care of that later. Or I can even just, because it's paper, I can just kind of fold it. But you want it to kind of stay put. Okay? So that'll work for now. The next step is going to be putting the top letter on. So again, you're going to cover all of your letters, all of your cups, I mean, with glue. And I'm not going to quite finish this. I'm just going to stick this on here so you can see the process of just covering it. And you're going to very carefully lay the other letter that you cut out on top. So you can see that you've got a basic form. And you want this to dry. You might have to push it down a little bit. But you want it to dry and have it as equal as you can. That way you are able to stand your letter up and it won't be crooked. The next step will be closing in the sides. And I did not bring my tape, so we're going to do this without the tape. But we're going to fold a piece of strip of paper and we're going to lay it up against a corner. And we are going to put masking tape over all the edges. And if you can wait just a second, I'll see if I can grab some tape. Here we go. So we're just going to take some masking tape and we're going to tape the top, tape this all the way around and just put it up to the edge and just keep taping. And we're going to do this with all sides. To do a inside corner, we did this one here as an outside corner. You can take these little strips of paper and they can be short, they don't have to be long, and then one piece doesn't have to go on forever. This one here, obviously on the corner, you can see is overlapping. I'm going to try to match that fold, match that corner, but if it's not going to work out very well, I just may cut that piece off. Take another strip, do the fold like I did before, and just overlap them and tape it down so that I have a nice, clean, crisp corner. And as you can see, I'm not picking this up because the glue is still wet, but I can kind of tell that I am kind of sealing it all up. For an inside corner, you do the same thing, and instead of placing it on the inside, on the outside edge, you're placing it on the inside. So you will continue doing that until you have completed enclosing the entire letter, and the next step will be paper mache.